Settle in for a quiet drift into the green world, where the rainforest breathes slowly beneath layered clouds and distant thunder. Here, in the deepest corners of the living earth, every surface holds a secret, and every shadow carries a whisper from something alive. As you rest, let your mind wander without effort. Let it soften into this quiet place where time feels slower, older, and gentler than the world we know. Tonight, Sleepy Simofoma guides you into the quiet depth of the rainforests, places so rich with life that they seem like entire planets folded into the shape of forests. Rainforests inhale and exhale like living giants. Their leaves release mist so fine it becomes drifting clouds, and their roots pull ancient minerals upward through layered soils that have existed for millions of years. At night, the forest doesn't fall silent. It glows, murmurs, and vibrates with soft motions that feel almost dreamlike. Even the air holds information, drifting chemical signals, fragrances, spores, and invisible traces of life that scientists are still learning how to interpret. So lie back, breathe gently, and allow your thoughts to loosen as we walk through this living dusk. There are leaves in the rainforest so enormous that a single one can shelter a child, or even a small animal family. Plants like alocasia, gunnera, and giant aroids grow leaves that seem crafted for ancient giants. Their broad surfaces act like natural roofs, collecting soft rainfall and guiding heavy stormwater into narrow streams that pour over their edges. Beneath their shade, the ground stays cooler and dry, forming tiny sanctuaries where insects, frogs, and even small mammals hide from sudden weather. These monumental leaves grow near the forest floor, where sunlight is precious and fought for. Because the canopy above blocks nearly 98% of incoming light, plants expand their leaves into wide, flat panels designed to capture every possible photon. Frogs use the pools that gather in their folds as nurseries. Insects cling to the ridges where nutrients flow. Even the delicate patterns on their surfaces reveal the hidden highways through which water and minerals travel. Despite their massive size, the leaves remain flexible and intelligent in design. They change angle to spill water, reduce wind pressure, or direct sunlight onto areas that need warmth. Encountering one feels like standing beside a piece of living architecture, something crafted with precision, purpose, and quiet generosity. Some rainforest trees bloom only once every few decades, and when they do, they bloom in perfect synchrony. Entire landscapes, miles upon miles, hold their breath for years, waiting for the exact combination of temperature, rainfall, and seasonal sunlight. Then, suddenly, thousands of trees burst into flower at the same moment. This phenomenon, known as mass flowering, transforms the canopy into a sea of blossoms. The air fills with fragrance, and clouds of pollinators rush toward the blooming zones. Bees, butterflies, bats, and birds that travel long distances for this once-in-a-lifetime feast. The bloom is so intense that animals that would normally eat the flowers or seeds simply cannot keep up. By overwhelming predators, the trees ensure that at least some seeds survive to grow the next generation. From above, this synchronized blooming appears as a sweeping wave of brightness moving across the forest, a seasonal miracle that may happen only once or twice in a century. When the petals fall, they drift like soft rain, covering the ground in a blanket of color. And then the trees return to waiting, counting silent, patient decades until the next awakening. Beneath the soil lies a hidden world, a vast fungal network sometimes called the wood wide web. These microscopic threads, known as mycorrhizae, connect the roots of countless plants. Through these networks, plants communicate, share resources, and warn each other of danger. When a plant senses a threat, perhaps an insect attack or a sudden drought, it releases chemical signals into this underground web. Neighboring plants receive the message and strengthen their defenses long before the danger reaches them. In this way, the forest behaves not as isolated individuals, but as a community. Nutrients also travel through these fungal bridges. A strong, healthy tree may send carbon, sugars, or minerals to a smaller, struggling seedling. Old mother trees support younger ones in the darkest parts of the forest. This system expands and contracts with seasons, forming a living map beneath the soil, almost like an unseen nervous system guiding the forest's survival. In the undergrowth live frogs so small that they can rest comfortably on a fingernail. These tiny amphibians, often only a few millimeters long, hide in moss pockets, curled leaves, or droplets of water collected in plant stems. A single raindrop-filled leaf becomes an entire world to them, feeding ground, shelter, and nursery all in one. Their voices are surprisingly loud for their size, producing high-pitched chirps that blend into the insect chorus. Camouflage is their greatest defense. Some imitate speckled leaves, others mimic bits of bark or wet soil. To find them, scientists must move slowly, listening for faint sounds and searching for creatures that look like flickers of moving color. Their existence reminds us that the rainforest is structured not only by giants, but also by miniature lives thriving in microscopic landscapes. Some rainforest animals glow in the dark. As darkness spreads, lights begin to appear that do not come from the sky. Beetles pulse with soft yellow light. Certain fungi emit green halos across fallen logs. Even a few mammals produce faint glimmers that shimmer when disturbed. This bioluminescence comes from natural chemical reactions that release tiny flashes of energy. Animals use these lights to signal mates, warn predators, or communicate silently across the shadows. Walking through a rainforest at night feels like stepping into a world where the stars have descended to rest among the trees. Each glimmer is a message, a secret language written in glowing ink. Near riverbanks, butterflies sometimes drink the tears of turtles. The interaction is gentle and strangely beautiful. Butterflies need minerals like sodium, but often struggle to find enough in their diet. So they flutter close to sunbathing turtles and sip the salty droplets that gather near their eyes. The turtles remain unbothered, continuing to rest as the butterflies delicately perch on their shells and faces. Even the smallest resource, a tear, becomes part of the rainforest's economy of sharing. In the dim spaces between branches, rainforest spiders build enormous webs. Some webs stretch wide enough for small birds to brush against them in flight. Their silk glistens with dew and moonlight, forming patterns woven with astonishing strength, stronger than steel when compared by weight. These webs serve as both traps and architectural marvels, engineered by creatures that work silently in the twilight hours. The rainforest stretches endlessly, a living world of green where every leaf, branch, and drop of water hums with life. Mist drifts between towering trees that pierce clouds, and the air is thick with scents of earth, rain, and unseen blooms. Each breath carries whispers of ancient cycles, chemical signals, and the quiet movements of countless creatures. Leaves grow enormous, broad enough to shelter a child or small mammals. Storms cascade over them in glimmering sheets, while gentle weather turns them into havens of shade. Frogs lay eggs in pools that gather on their surfaces. Insects cling along veins and ridges. Each leaf expands towards sunlight, capturing every ray in the dark undergrowth. Their delicate angles shift with water and wind, and intricate patterns on their surfaces reveal the hidden pathways of nutrients coursing through the plant. Some trees bloom only once every few decades, and when they do, they bloom in perfect synchrony. Across vast expanses, thousands of trees release flowers simultaneously, guided by subtle changes in temperature, rainfall, and light. The canopy transforms into a sea of petals, fragrant and brilliant. Pollinators swarm, overwhelmed by the abundance. This mass flowering ensures seeds survive and new generations continue. Petals fall softly to the ground, carpeting the soil in fleeting color as trees return to patient waiting. Beneath the soil lies a hidden network of fungal threads connecting countless roots. This wood-wide web allows plants to communicate, warn each other of threats, and share nutrients. A stressed tree releases chemical signals. Neighboring plants strengthen defenses. Strong trees support seedlings struggling for sunlight. Cooperation flows silently through this underground network, turning the forest into a living community. Tiny frogs live in droplets of water collected by moss and curled leaves. No bigger than a fingernail, they perch on the delicate surface, hunting insects and avoiding predators with precise camouflage. Their calls, surprisingly loud, rise in high-pitched chirps, blending with the hum of leaf litter and soil. Observing them reveals how life thrives in the smallest spaces. Some insects and fungi glow in darkness. Beetles pulse yellow, fungi shimmer green, and even a few mammals give faint glimmers. Bioluminescence results from chemical reactions, signaling mates, warning predators, or communicating silently. Walking beneath these lights feels like treading among stars that have fallen into the forest, scattered across branches, leaves, and logs. Near riverbanks, butterflies drink the tears of turtles. Salty droplets provide essential minerals, and the turtles remain still, allowing this delicate exchange. Even a single tear becomes a vital resource in the rainforest's intricate web of life. Spiders weave enormous webs between branches. Dew highlights the threads, forming traps that can brush against small birds in flight. Though insects are their main prey, the web's scale allows access to a wider range. Spiders sit motionless at the center, reading vibrations with their legs. Each tremor tells a story about visitors and threats. They help maintain the balance of insect populations, reminding us that beauty and utility coexist in every corner of the forest. Sloths host entire microecosystems within their fur. Moisture gathers in grooves, supporting algae, insects, and fungi. Moths spend their life cycle in the fur, laying eggs when the sloth descends to the ground. Algae may provide nutrients during grooming. Sloths travel slowly, carrying a living community through the canopy, embodying the rainforest's theme of interconnected life. Flooded forests transform the land. Seasonal rains submerge the forest floor, creating underwater corridors where fish glide among tree trunks. Fish eat fruits from above, birds dive to catch prey, and monkeys observe from high perches. When floods recede, nutrient-rich sediment nourishes the soil, demonstrating the forest's graceful adaptation to water's rhythm. The Amazon River flows with unmatched force, carrying water, seeds, and logs across continents. Fresh water reaches far into the Atlantic, creating visible plumes. Fish, river dolphins, and countless species navigate its currents. The river's rise and fall shape migrations, forests, and ecosystems, moving life and nutrients like a living artery. Rainforests create their own rainfall. Leaves release water vapor that rises and forms clouds. When millions of leaves breathe together, moisture accumulates, cools, and condenses into life-giving rain. Each plant, from the tallest tree to the smallest shrub, participates. What begins as a single leaf's exhale becomes a vast atmospheric engine, sustaining life across the forest. Some trees rise so high their crowns pierce clouds, hosting mosses, orchids, insects, and birds. Deep roots anchor these giants, wide buttresses brace them through storms, and rings record centuries of rainfall, floods, and distant lightning. Their towering forms create pathways for gliders, seeds, and monkeys. Standing beneath one conveys the presence of time itself. The canopy forms a suspended world with its own weather. Sunlight collects in golden sheets, warm air drifts, and mist gathers in pockets.
Rain may fall inside the canopy without reaching the ground. Animals travel through this labyrinth of branches, vines, and hollows as though walking through a city in the sky. Moisture accumulates in hidden reservoirs, feeding creatures that never descend. Wind, light, and movement constantly reshape this floating ecosystem, yet the structure persists through centuries. Beneath the canopy lies the dark, humid underworld. Shadows stretch across the forest floor, where sunlight struggles to reach. Plants grow slowly, inching toward rare beams of light. Animals adapt to near darkness, using scent, sound, and touch to navigate. Life thrives quietly here, in a realm where patience and stillness are essential. Every layer of the rainforest reveals new marvels. From giant leaves to glowing fungi, hidden webs to sloths traveling ecosystems, from flooded forests to river currents, the forest is a living symphony of interdependence. Every organism contributes to the balance, whether visible or microscopic. Each tree, insect, and droplet participates in a system that has existed for millennia. Observing it evokes awe not through spectacle, but through the subtle poetry of life persisting quietly in every shade, every corner, and every breath of the rainforest.
The soil pulses with life. Insects, worms, roots, and fungi weave together in constant motion, turning decay into nourishment. Fallen fruits soften quickly in the warmth, releasing nutrients that feed entire communities of hidden organisms. Every step sinks softly into centuries of leaf litter. For creatures that dwell here, the forest floor is a universe apart from the canopy above, a realm of shadows and patience where survival is defined by subtle skill rather than height. Many never climb upward, having become masters of movement within this quiet, humid underworld. Some trees grow roots that climb rather than dig. They spread upward and outward across trunks and rocks, gripping surfaces like living hands. These climbing roots form delicate lattices that capture moisture from drifting mist instead of seeking water in the soil. Some reach toward pockets of light, creating bridges between trees. Others spiral around their hosts, providing strength during storms. Within these grooves, ants, spiders, beetles, and tiny frogs find shelter. Exposed to the air, these roots pulse with humidity and carry nutrients along their outer surfaces. In this elegant design, every twist and turn reveals the rainforest's ingenuity, a testament to life finding ways to thrive even where soil is scarce or absent. High above the ground, epiphytes create floating gardens in the sky. Orchids, bromeliads, and mosses grow on branches, suspended entirely in air, drawing nutrients from mist and dust. Thick mats cradle insects and frogs. Leaf basins collect water, forming nurseries for tadpoles and drinking stations for birds. These plants do not harm the trees that host them. Instead, they use height to reach sunlight that the forest floor can never receive. Their presence layers the canopy, turning it into a vibrant network of many ecosystems perched gently on ancient giants. Some trees survive by strangling their hosts from above. Seeds begin life high in another tree's branches, sending roots downward until they reach the soil. Once anchored, the roots thicken, wrapping the host's trunk. Slowly, patiently, the lattice tightens, constraining growth until the original tree weakens. Over time, the newcomer grows stronger, forming its own trunk and canopy. Hollow spaces left behind become shelters for birds, mammals, and insects. This process, dramatic yet neutral, illustrates the rainforest's relentless pursuit of sunlight in a crowded world. When a towering tree falls, light floods the forest floor. Entire gaps bloom into new jungles. Seeds long dormant respond to the sudden brightness. Young plants surge upward, vines stretch across open air, and saplings create patchworks of green. Flowers and fruits appear quickly, attracting birds and small mammals. Light gaps become nurseries for the next generation of the canopy.
Gradually, the forest remembers the event through the trees that rise from the sunlit burst of growth, carrying the memory of renewal forward. Jaguars navigate flooded forests with ease. Seasonal rains expand rivers into pools that merge with the land, and jaguars glide between submerged trunks with powerful fluid strokes. Muscles ripple beneath patterned fur as they swim silently, ears alert to the splash of fish or movement of caiman. Water is no obstacle. It is a hunting ground, a playground, and a path to survival. Jaguars shift effortlessly between swimming and climbing, moving from dark pools to low branches without a sound. They exemplify adaptivity, moving confidently through the rainforest's seasonal transformations. Some birds are masters of mimicry. Deep within the trees, certain species replicate nearly every sound they hear. Dripping water, calls of other birds, rustling leaves, even distant animals rarely encountered. Specialized structures in their vocal organs allow precise control over pitch and rhythm. Young birds learn by listening, matching tones with incredible accuracy. Their songs attract mates, ward off rivals, and encode the history of forest sounds. Each generation carries a living archive, preserving memory while adding new layers to the rainforest symphony. When these birds sing, the forest itself seems to speak, a chorus of presence and memory intertwined. Underground, ants cultivate fungal gardens with astonishing care. Colonies carve chambers in the soil, creating warm, humid spaces ideal for growth. Workers collect leaves, clean them meticulously, and feed fresh matter to the expanding fungus. In return, the fungus nourishes the colony. The ants prune, weed, and protect the gardens, keeping pests and competitors at bay. Tunnels extend from the nest into the surrounding forest, forming intricate pathways for foraging. These living farms are maintained through precise air circulation within the tunnels, sustaining entire generations. The partnership between ants and fungus represents one of nature's earliest examples of agriculture, refined over countless years, where neither survives alone. The forest floor is alive in subtler ways too. Fungi and microbes decompose fallen wood, turning it into rich humus. Tiny crustaceans and insects tunnel through the soil, aerating it and spreading nutrients. Worms consume decaying matter, leaving trails that fertilize the earth. Each organism participates in an ongoing cycle of creation, destruction, and renewal, invisible to most human eyes, but vital to the life above. Water shapes the rainforest in unexpected ways. During floods, seasonal rains swell rivers and spill across the land, blurring the line between river and forest. Fish navigate submerged roots and trunks, feeding on fallen fruits. Birds adjust hunting strategies to the shifting waters. Mammals explore newly formed channels. When waters recede, nutrient-rich sediments remain, revitalizing the soil and providing sustenance for countless species. Floods are neither catastrophic or random. They are a rhythm that organizes life, guiding migrations, feeding cycles, and plant growth with quiet precision. Tree roots adapt to moisture and terrain in inventive ways. In some regions, roots spiral and arch across rocks and trunks, reaching toward light and mist. They form natural bridges that connect trees, allow tiny creatures to travel safely, and funnel nutrients across the forest's outer surfaces. Some roots climb high to capture mist that soil cannot provide, while others coil around hosts to anchor trees against storms. Every root tells a story of innovation, survival, and cooperation. High on the canopy, epiphytic mats transform branches into miniature forests. Birds and frogs use leaf basins for water. Insects and microorganisms thrive within mosses and orchids. These floating gardens capture light, moisture, and nutrients, creating layers of life above the primary forest. They exemplify the rainforest's ability to maximize every available resource without harming the foundation beneath them. Life in the rainforest is a web of adaptations, partnerships, and subtle exchanges. From jaguars navigating floodwaters to ants tending underground farms, from climbing roots to epiphytic gardens, each organism interacts with countless others. The forest is alive on every level, from the soil to the mist-shrouded canopy, a multi-dimensional network of energy, nourishment, and quiet intelligence. Every movement, every breath, and every interaction contributes to the delicate balance of life that has persisted for millennia.
Howler monkeys fill the rainforest with resonant calls that travel miles. Their enlarged voice boxes and specialized throats allow sound to roll through the trees like distant thunder. At dawn and dusk, these groups communicate location, reducing conflicts by letting neighboring bands know where they are. Vibrations drift through leaves, rivers, and rising air, startling those who hear them for the first time as the calls feel closer than they truly are. Despite their power, howler monkeys lead slow, deliberate lives. Most of the day is spent resting, conserving energy while consuming leaves that provide modest sustenance. Their gentle movements and strong voices form a balance, while their seed dispersal ensures young plants take root far from parent trees, sustaining the forest's future. Electric blue frogs add flashes of color to the forest floor. Bright and bold, they warn predators of their toxicity, gained from a diet of ants and small insects. Sunlight catches their brilliant skin, making them almost glow amidst the dim undergrowth. Their soft calls blend into the background, while their tadpoles grow safely in water pools held by plants. The frogs transport each tadpole individually, a delicate choreography that maintains their survival. Their presence transforms fallen leaves into miniature landscapes of color and life, demonstrating how even small creatures influence the rainforest ecosystem. Some clouds begin life in the forest itself. Sunlight warms the canopy, releasing moisture, oils, and scents into the air. These particles attract water vapor, forming droplets that slowly merge into clouds. The cloud shapes shift constantly, pushed by currents rising from the forest below. When conditions align, tree-borne clouds contribute to local storms, watering the land. The atmosphere and forest are entwined, each cloud carrying traces of leaves, bark, and the breath of countless living trees. Rain, light, and vapor become a conversation between the earth and sky. Rivers change character with falling leaves. Decaying foliage releases tannins, darkening the water and creating acidity that shapes aquatic life. Some fish prefer these dark waters for protection, while others use chemical cues to trigger breeding. Aquatic plants respond to the altered chemistry, shifting the underwater landscape. Seasonal leaf fall accelerates this transformation almost overnight. River dolphins, caiman, and other predators adapt to the changing water, revealing how tightly connected forest floor and river currents are. A single leaf can ripple through an entire aquatic ecosystem. Trees in flooded forests breathe through specialized bark. Oxygen passes inward even when submerged, a natural snorkel delivering air to living cells. Swollen bases or flared supports stabilize the trees in shifting currents. Some develop internal channels moving oxygen toward roots. Submerged trunks continue gas exchange silently during long floods, resuming normal growth once waters recede. These adaptations exemplify resilience and illustrate how the rainforest accommodates dramatic seasonal change. The forest floor vanishes underwater during seasonal floods. Inch by inch, water covers the undergrowth, transforming the land into a temporary aquatic world. Soil-dwelling plants sway with the currents. Fish navigate submerged roots while young birds perch on branches reflected in pools. Animals adapt. Some retreat to higher ground, others explore newly flooded zones. Nutrients washed in by floods enrich the soil, priming it for seeds to germinate and mammals to return. The disappearance and return of the floor reveal the rainforest's fluid ecosystem, a landscape that alternates between land and water. Fish migrate through forests during floods. Submerged trees and undergrowth become passageways, allowing fish to access fruit-bearing trees. Young fish shelter among roots, feeding on insects washed from soil, while predators struggle to chase them in water. These migrations illustrate the shifting boundaries between river and forest, highlighting the adaptability of life. The rainforest's dual identity becomes apparent as fish glide through sunlit groves that once held walking animals. Lightning sparks fires even in the wettest forests. Powerful strikes ignite dry leaves or branches warmed by sunlight. Flames smolder quietly before spreading, often low to the ground. Controlled by natural conditions, these fires clear debris without harming the canopy, opening space for new plants. Certain species rely on occasional fire to germinate or reduce competition. Animals sense danger and retreat until the flames pass. Afterward, fresh growth emerges from ash, illustrating the interplay of water, fire, and renewal that shapes rainforest life. Rainfall rhythms follow the moon. Lunar cycles influence tides, winds, and atmospheric pressure, subtly shifting forest humidity. Certain phases bring gentle, evenly spaced showers, while others encourage intense storms. Frogs breed more actively under specific moonlight, insects emerge with rising moisture, and plants release pollen or scents optimized for the night air. Moonlight and rainfall create a soft, pulsing heartbeat through the forest, guiding life in patterns that have endured for countless generations. Some flowers bloom for a single night. These rare blossoms wait through seasons of quiet growth, releasing energy only when conditions align: warmth, moisture, and sometimes moonlight. Petals unfurl in darkness, glowing faintly, releasing sweet scents to attract nocturnal pollinators. By dawn, the flowers close forever, leaving seeds or fruit behind. Some species bloom only once in many years, others unpredictably. Witnessing them feels like time pausing, a fragile moment curated by the rainforest itself. Some trees bleed red when cut. Crimson sap oozes slowly, protecting the trunk from insects and bacteria while sealing wounds. The liquid forms natural patterns reminiscent of flowing paint. Some cultures use this sap in rituals or medicine, drawn to its lifelike appearance. Though visually striking, the tree experiences no pain. It simply responds with evolved defense. Birds, insects, and small mammals sometimes investigate, revealing that even in damage, the rainforest produces beauty. Vines grow in spirals to climb efficiently. Curving upward, they wrap branches and trunks, distributing weight evenly and maximizing sunlight capture. Spirals allow them to stretch long distances without thick stems. Slow, constant adjustments guide them toward light, forming natural bridges that animals traverse. Some vines develop specialized structures to grip bark or smooth surfaces. Their spiraling patterns weave elegance and practicality into the rainforest, connecting layers and species across the towering ecosystem. Carnivorous plants trap insects in nutrient-poor soil. Leaves form cups, sticky surfaces, or jaws, luring prey with scent or glistening droplets. Digestive fluids extract nutrients, supplementing sparse soil. Some adjust trap angles to collect rainwater, others display ultraviolet patterns to attract insects. These adaptations exemplify how rainforest life solves challenges creatively, turning scarcity into opportunity. The forest floor becomes a laboratory of evolutionary innovation where survival requires ingenuity as much as strength. Some seeds survive passage through elephants. Fruits consumed whole have pulp digested, leaving seeds intact. Traveling long distances, elephants deposit seeds in nutrient-rich material, increasing chances of growth in suitable locations. Certain seeds require rough passage through digestive tracts to crack outer shells and trigger germination. This partnership spreads trees across the landscape, demonstrating how large animals act as rainforest gardeners, carrying life from river valleys to dense undergrowth. A single tree can host over 1,000 insect species. Branches, bark, leaves, roots, and hollows harbor beetles, caterpillars, ant colonies, spiders, and more. Each finds a niche. Some feed on sap, others graze fungi or algae. Microhabitats vary with sunlight, humidity, and temperature. These layered environments support complex food webs that ripple outward, illustrating the density and interconnectedness of rainforest ecosystems. Some plants mimic other species. Leaves, colors, and growth patterns imitate neighbors to avoid herbivores. Some resemble poisonous plants, others copy stronger species. Insects may be deceived, laying eggs on the wrong plant. Mimicry conserves energy by reducing damage or chemical defense costs, allowing survival through subtle adaptation and camouflage. Life in dense ecosystems depends on discretion as much as competition. Certain trees release chemicals to suppress surrounding vegetation. Toxins seep from roots or fallen leaves, slowing growth of nearby plants. This reduces competition for light, water, and nutrients, shaping forest floor patterns over time. Animals notice these zones, using them as paths or resting spots. The strategy, though competitive, maintains diversity by influencing plant distribution and forest structure. Fungi control insect behavior. Spores attach to insects, spreading internally while altering behavior. Insects climb upward, placing themselves in positions optimal for spore release. Once attached, the fungus emerges, releasing spores to continue its life cycle. Other animals assist in cleanup. In dense canopies, where visual cues are limited, this method ensures successful pollination, illustrating the sophisticated strategies evolved by rainforest plants over countless generations. Certain rainforests predate the Amazon River. Ancient forests formed under different atmospheric, oceanic, and temperature conditions. Vegetation rose and fell through eras as continents shifted and climates changed. Layers of decomposed leaves store chemical traces of extinct climates and fossilized remains of plants and insects. Current trees share ancestry with species surviving global transformations, reminding us that rainforests are ancient survivors, living records of ecosystems older than human history. Fossil evidence shows that ancient rainforests once flourished in Antarctica. Leaf impressions, petrified wood, and ferns reveal thriving ecosystems under near-constant summer sunlight. Trees adapted to long periods of darkness, insects scavenged leaf litter, and life thrived in ways that mirror modern rainforests. These remnants reveal Earth's dynamic history and highlight the resilience of life in shifting climates. DNA in rainforest plants preserves traces of ancient ecosystems. Genes connect modern species to early land plants, revealing evolutionary strategies and adaptations. Genetic stability indicates regions of environmental stability, while bursts of evolution reflect rapid adaptation to climate or geographical shifts. These insights inform scientists about early ecosystem function, showing how plants respond to drought, flooding, volcanic activity, and atmospheric change. The rainforest is not only alive in the present, but also a living archive of Earth's earliest ecosystems.
Each leaf, each seed, holds a story older than stone. Within their veins lies a living archive, a record of evolution and the intricate dance of ecosystems that shape the forests we see today. By studying these silent codes, researchers can glimpse the ancient rhythms of life that unfolded long before human eyes existed. Some insects in the rainforest have barely changed for millions of years. Beneath fallen leaves, along mossy trunks, and inside hollowed branches, they move in ways that echo a prehistoric world. Their bodies, their feeding patterns, even the timing of their life cycles mirror species preserved in amber from ages when towering reptiles roamed humid lands. By surviving countless climatic shifts, these creatures demonstrate the enduring power of evolutionary design. They continue pollinating flowers, recycling decaying matter, and providing food for larger animals, just as their ancestors did. Watching one of these insects crawl across a fallen branch is like peering through a window into a time that existed millions of years ago, a reminder of life's resilience and the rainforest's stability. Tropical rainforests were once cradles of flowering plants. In the distant past, early forests stretched across warm, verdant regions, and the first flowers began experimenting with reproduction. Prior to this, most plants relied on wind or water to disperse spores. The emergence of flowers changed everything, forming delicate partnerships with insects. Scent,
Color and shape became tools to attract pollinators, and in turn, insects carried pollen from one bloom to another, driving an explosion of diversity. Rainforests, with their stable temperatures and constant rainfall, offered the perfect stage for these innovations. Over time, flowering plants spread to distant lands, transforming ecosystems with fruits, seeds, and complex reproductive strategies. The modern rainforest still bears the legacy of those first pioneers. Every petal carries echoes of a pivotal evolutionary moment. Some rainforest species preserve a lineage that reaches back to the age of dinosaurs. In secluded corners, certain ferns unfurl fronds almost identical to fossilized leaves from epochs when massive reptiles dominated the planet. Reptiles and amphibians move among leaf litter in ways reminiscent of their prehistoric forebears. Even some insects replicate wing patterns that have persisted since the age of dinosaurs. These organisms survived mass extinctions by retreating into sheltered microhabitats where humidity, temperature, and light remained steady. The rainforest, in its quiet resilience, became a refuge. Today, these living relics continue ancient routines, offering a tangible link to worlds long vanished. Certain rainforest trees are themselves living fossils. Their leaves, seeds, and cones reflect experiments in reproduction conducted over 100 million years ago. They grow in small pockets where conditions mimic those of distant pasts. Shaded ravines preserve ancient humidity, mountain slopes maintain stable temperatures year-round. Their slow growth preserves unique genetic information, providing scientists with vital clues about the evolution of plant life. Standing beneath one of these trees is like entering a temple crafted by time itself, where each branch, each vein, whispers stories of Earth's history. Rainforest sediments quietly preserve the chronicles of Earth's climate. In ponds, floodplains, and pools of still water, fine particles accumulate over centuries, layering pollen, spores, minerals, and fragments of leaves like diary pages written by the forest itself. The presence or absence of pollen types reveals which species thrived at various periods, while mineral shifts reflect changes in rainfall or distant volcanic eruptions. Even charcoal remnants tell of ancient fires that predate written history. Extracting sediment cores is like unearthing a library of climate memory. Every layer narrates droughts, floods, and subtle shifts in global temperatures, patiently waiting for those who know how to read them. Some rainforest tree species may have survived for more than 100 million years. Hidden among the forest's diversity are species whose ancestors thrived before modern plant groups existed. These trees have endured continental drift, rising seas, and dramatic climate swings. Their leaves follow patterns formed in ancient climates, and their reproductive cycles preserve strategies developed long before flowering plants achieved full diversity. Trunks still hold chemical traces of processes that began eons ago, and seeds planted in soils enriched by countless generations continue a lineage forged in the time of gigantic reptiles. Touching such a tree is like brushing against myth itself. Long ago, rainforests echoed with the movements of enormous herbivores, and many plants adapted in response. Thick rinds protected fruits from hungry mouths, and oversized seeds required passage through massive digestive systems to germinate. When these megafauna disappeared, plants survived, retaining features shaped by their vanished partners. Some insects even co-evolved with these giants, feeding on byproducts or waste left behind. Today, these plants and insects carry living evidence of interactions from an age that ended long before modern forests existed, reminding us that evolution is a network of connections stretching deep into the past. Even a teaspoon of rainforest soil can contain more microbes than the number of people on Earth. Each tiny organism has a role, decomposing leaves, cycling nutrients, and forming partnerships with tree roots to make minerals accessible. Many remain unknown to science because they cannot survive outside their natural environment. Examining a drop of rainforest soil under a microscope reveals an entire universe. Microbes drifting like dust, clinging to minerals, forming intricate networks. They form the foundation of life above, sustaining nutrient cycles, water regulation, and new growth. Without these invisible caretakers, the forest would collapse. This hidden world reminds us that even the smallest spaces hold immense abundance. Some fungi live entirely inside leaves, never touching open air. Threading through microscopic spaces between plant cells, these fungi strengthen the host by defending it against pathogens, deterring herbivores, and remaining shielded from environmental stress. When the leaf eventually falls, the fungi assist in decomposition, returning nutrients to the soil. These invisible partnerships reveal an entire dimension of rainforest life, where ecosystems unfold in spaces too tiny for humans to see. Certain lizards can shift their colors to match the changing light beneath the canopy. Pigment cells in their skin expand or contract in response to shadows, sunlight, temperature, and even mood, allowing them to vanish into the forest's ever-shifting palette. This adaptation helps them avoid predators and stalk prey with stealth. The rainforest becomes a living stage where color flows like water across leaves, bark, and branches. Bats navigate the jungle using sonar, emitting high-frequency pulses that bounce off branches, trunks, and insects. The returning echoes form detailed mental maps, letting them weave through dense foliage without touching a leaf. Some species coordinate with one another through variations in calls, hunting in synchronized patterns. Observing them is like witnessing creatures reading invisible pathways mapped by sound alone. Orchids create microclimates within their flowers. Sunlight warms a hidden pocket of air inside the bloom, producing near-boiling humidity that supports delicate reproductive processes. Pollinators are surrounded by moisture that aids scent release and pollen transfer, while predators are discouraged. Each species carefully shapes the internal environment, engineering a tiny, transient world that exists only for a brief moment before the flower wilts. Some mosses glow under UV light. On dim forest floors, pigments emit a faint radiance, visible only in low light or UV conditions. The glow may attract spore-dispersing insects or shield moss from damage, forming subtle patterns that shimmer across damp earth. Each species produces a unique light, turning hidden corners of the rainforest into miniature constellations. Even centipedes become apex predators in the dark. In caves and hollow trees, enormous centipedes climb silently, waiting beneath roosting bats. When the opportunity comes, they strike with precision, coiling around their prey until it ceases to struggle. These interactions remind us that rainforest food webs extend into unseen corners, where survival takes forms both surprising and fearsome.
In the rainforest, even predators can surprise us. Enormous centipedes navigate the dark with astonishing skill, detecting heat and vibration through sensitive organs that grant them near-perfect awareness. Hidden from human eyes, they dwell in secret spaces, preying with patience and precision. Their existence reminds us that nature's predators take many forms, some subtle, some astonishing. Observing such interactions deepens our understanding of food webs operating far from daylight, where life follows rules written in darkness. Even the tiniest water droplets transform into miniature worlds. After rain, droplets cling to leaves, moss, and branches, collecting microorganisms that drift in from the air or wash down from the canopy. Within these tiny spheres, complex interactions unfold, from plankton-like microbes to predators feasting on smaller prey. Chemistry shifts with sunlight and dissolve nutrients, while insects and frogs may lay eggs that hatch within these ephemeral pools. Each droplet is a transient ecosystem, mirroring life on a larger scale, where energy cycles through unseen channels from microbes to miniature predators. Canopy beetles survive falls of 100 feet with grace. When dislodged by wind or predator activity, these insects descend without injury, thanks to their rigid bodies, curled legs, and microscopic hairs that slow their fall. They drift to the forest floor almost as lightly as seeds, exploring vertical space without fear. Their resilience illustrates how evolution equips creatures to thrive in an environment where height matters as much as ground cover. Some butterflies shimmer with near invisibility. Their transparent wings allow sunlight to pass through, making them almost imperceptible to predators. Faint flashes of color occasionally appear, a side effect of delicate wing scales, creating a ghostly beauty as they rest on leaves. These ethereal insects are fragments of the sky drifting silently through the forest, highlighting the rainforest's capacity for subtle wonder. When night falls, the rainforest sings with countless unseen voices. Frogs, insects, mammals, and even trees contribute to a nocturnal symphony. Each call, rustle, or vibration communicates territory, courtship, or danger. Layers of sound overlap, creating a complex tapestry rather than chaos. The night chorus reveals a hidden web of life where animals and plants remain intimately connected through sound. Some flowers bloom only under the full moon. In secluded clearings, petals unfold under pale lunar light, attracting nocturnal pollinators like moths and beetles. Their silvery glow and intensified fragrance create fleeting celebrations of celestial timing, a quiet synchronization between plant and sky. Nocturnal monkeys navigate pitch-black canopies with astonishing precision, relying on hearing, air currents, and memory to leap across branches. They communicate with soft clicks, avoiding disruption of sleeping neighbors, foraging efficiently for fruit or insects. In darkness, their movements are guided by instinct honed over millennia, allowing them to traverse spaces invisible to human eyes. Luminescent fungi dot the forest floor, glowing green or blue as they decompose organic matter. Moisture and chemical reactions trigger their soft light, visible only when surrounding darkness is complete. These tiny stars attract insects that spread spores, creating a cosmic landscape at ground level and reminding us that life expresses beauty even in decay. Night vision snakes glide silently through dark waters. Heat-sensing structures detect prey among submerged roots and floating branches. They hunt fish, amphibians, or small mammals with fluid movements, barely disturbing the water. Their presence is often betrayed only by ripples trailing behind. In this world, survival depends on senses that surpass human perception. Moths hear echolocation calls and evade bats mid-flight. High-frequency pulses alert them to danger, prompting split-second dives or chaotic flight maneuvers. These aerial duels, invisible to human eyes, are evolutionary arms races shaped by millions of years of adaptation, demonstrating the rainforest's delicate balance between hunter and prey. Tree frogs shift colors between day and night. Bright patterns during daylight conceal them among leaves, while darker tones at night hide them in shadows. Pigment cells respond to temperature, moisture, and circadian rhythms, allowing frogs to evade predators and maintain concealment. This daily transformation exemplifies the rainforest's dynamic interplay of behavior and environment. Some nocturnal beetles communicate via infrared light. Invisible to humans, these pulses allow beetles to find mates or coordinate movements safely, creating a hidden network of communication within the dense canopy. Specialized cameras reveal these silent exchanges, uncovering an entire dimension of nocturnal interaction beyond our perception. By night, the rainforest breathes differently. Plants alter gas exchange, moisture condenses on surfaces, and nocturnal creatures emerge while diurnal species retreat. Insects hum, amphibians call, and scents from soil attract foragers. The forest operates as a living organism, cycling through rhythms that shape every life within it. Some carnivorous plants hunt only at night. Their traps remain harmless during the day, but darkness triggers chemical changes and structural movements, capturing prey that active nocturnal insects provide. Timing feeding with night activity demonstrates the precision of adaptations evolved to exploit specific environmental windows. The Congo Basin pulses like a living heart. Storms build slowly, fueled by moisture released from countless trees. Thunder murmurs as rain begins, first as a gentle pattern, then a deluge sweeping through the forest. Animals sense these shifts. Birds retreat, elephants adjust, insects adapt.
Rain cools the air, refreshes soil, and orchestrates the basin cycles, nurturing life attuned to the rhythm of water and sky. Southeast Asia's rainforests resonate with gibbon calls at dawn. Their elaborate songs carry across valleys and riverbanks, communicating territory, companionship, and family bonds. Agile and acrobatic, they swing through the canopy as their voices rise, setting the forest's day in motion. Birds, insects, and even leaves respond, creating a chorus that marks the forest's daily awakening. Australia's ancient rainforests shelter rare marsupials. Some glide silently, others climb slowly across mossy branches. Their large eyes and evolved senses enable survival in dim light beneath ancestral canopies. Reliant on specific plants for nourishment, these creatures reveal ecosystems shaped by millions of years of isolation, a living testament to deep ecological time. New Guinea's birds build elaborate courtship arenas. Clearings become decorated stages of leaves, berries, sticks, and spirals. Male birds perform dances of precision, while females observe and evaluate artistic skill and stamina. These rituals highlight intelligence, creativity, and the rainforest's role in fostering complex behavior. Madagascar's rainforests host species found nowhere else. Lemurs leap gracefully, chameleons change color with subtle cues, and unique plants bloom in forms unseen elsewhere. These isolated ecosystems demonstrate life's ability to diverge along unique evolutionary paths, producing behaviors and forms shaped by millions of years of separation. The Daintree rainforest in northeastern Australia may be the oldest surviving tropical rainforest. Its species carry the memory of ancient ages, from primitive plant branches to fossil-patterned ferns. Streams and insects retain traits of ancestral lineages, offering glimpses into what early tropical forests may have looked like. Walking beneath its canopy is a journey into prehistory. Borneo's jungle canopy teems with orangutans, gliders, and sun bears. High above the forest floor, these creatures navigate a layered world of movement, communication, and feeding. Leaves filter sunlight for canopy plants, while the canopy itself acts as a highway for animals, demonstrating how exploring vertical space multiplies ecological richness. Sri Lanka's wet zone forests bloom with flowers unseen elsewhere. Dim light beneath canopies and mist-covered cliffs nurture blossoms dependent on specialized pollinators. Birds and insects navigate intricate structures designed to guide their movement, forming relationships shaped by generations of coevolution. Each bloom transforms green landscapes into vivid spectacles, expressing the island's deep ecological identity. Central America's rainforests form narrow corridors, alive with jaguars and toucans. Jaguars traverse shadowed undergrowth, following ancient paths. Toucans glide between fruiting trees, while the forests themselves shift gradually, blending ecosystems into mosaics of habitat. These corridors sustain species populations, maintain diversity, and demonstrate the rainforest's intrinsic spatial connections across regions.
These connected pathways sustain life across Central America, guiding creatures through forests that stretch from one ocean to another. The corridors act as highways of biodiversity, where predators, pollinators, and migrants maintain balance across the land. Even Hawaii once held tropical rainforests filled with unique life and volcanic wonders. Long before humans settled the islands, thick forests draped the volcanic mountains, where birds sang among moss-covered branches. Ancient lava flows cooled beneath the trees, leaving behind hollow pillars known as lava trees. These natural sculptures formed when molten rocks surged around living trunks and solidified while the trees burned away. Over time, plants returned, creating habitats rich with species found nowhere else. Honeycreeper birds with vivid plumage, insects with specialized feeding habits, and plants flourishing in volcanic soil once thrived here. Many are now rare or extinct, leaving only traces in stories and scientific records. Hawaii's ancient rainforests offer glimpses of worlds shaped by fire, water, and time, where life adapted to an island still rising from the sea. Rainforests pull carbon from the atmosphere with every breath. Each leaf acts as a gateway between air and earth, drawing in carbon dioxide through photosynthesis and transforming it into the building blocks of trunks, branches, fruits, and roots. This process occurs constantly, guided by sunlight filtering through endless layers of green. Standing among these trees is standing within a vast machine that turns air into life. Carbon is stored not only in wood, but also in soil enriched by centuries of fallen leaves and roots. Animals contribute through feeding, exhaling, and nutrient distribution. This steady process, like a deep inhale across generations, moderates Earth's atmosphere. Rainforests stabilize climates, regulate temperatures, and provide a global breath of balance, quietly, one leaf at a time. The disappearance of rainforests affects rainfall thousands of miles away. Moisture released by trees rises into the atmosphere, forming clouds that travel far beyond the forest. When forests shrink, less moisture reaches the skies, altering wind patterns and rainfall. Distant regions can experience droughts or storms due to tree loss thousands of miles away. Research shows that vapor born in a single rainforest can journey across oceans before falling as rain elsewhere. Rainforests are engines that drive hydrological cycles globally. Their loss disrupts patterns refined over millions of years. Each fallen tree weakens a chain of events that sustain life far beyond forest borders. Some rainforest trees release cooling aerosols into the air. Tiny particles emitted from leaves and branches help clouds form and reflect sunlight, creating a cooling effect that benefits distant regions. Trees adjust emissions according to temperature, humidity, and light, helping regulate local and global climate. Scientists describe this as a form of atmospheric communication, where trees act as mirrors, softening sunlight and maintaining the delicate balance upon which rainforest life depends. Even the shapes of rainforest leaves influence global heat regulation. Long, pointed leaves shed water and release heat efficiently, while broad leaves capture moisture and cool the surrounding air. Billions of leaves working together create a dynamic system that stabilizes temperature and humidity, ensuring species thrive consistently across seasons. The loss of canopy can raise ground temperatures by over 10 degrees. Sunlight strikes bare soil directly, moisture evaporates rapidly, and the ecosystem balance is disrupted. Seeds fail to germinate, insects leave or die, and small mammals lose shelter. The canopy is an insulating blanket. When it disappears, the forest loses not only shade, but the very conditions essential for its extraordinary biodiversity. Rainforests influence the flow of jet streams. Rising columns of warm air above tropical forests shape winds that circle the globe. When rainforests release moisture and regulate heat, they create distinct patterns in atmospheric circulation. Changes in forest cover alter the strength, direction, and stability of jet streams, affecting storms, monsoons, and droughts far away. Rainforests connect not only to tropical climates, but also to deserts, grasslands, and temperate zones, participating in a global dialogue between land, ocean, and sky. Soil in untouched rainforests locks carbon away for centuries. Beneath roots and leaf litter, organic matter decomposes slowly, storing vast amounts of carbon. Microbes and fungi break down material at rates balanced by fresh inputs, allowing nutrients to remain in soil for centuries. Disturbing this soil releases carbon, accelerating warming and disrupting ancient balance. Protecting intact forests safeguards these subterranean reservoirs that have supported the planet for ages. Forest fires in the tropics accelerate Arctic ice melt. Burning forests release dark particles that travel across continents, settling on polar snow and ice. The darkened surfaces absorb sunlight, warming and melting faster, creating feedback cycles. Though originating thousands of miles away, tropical fires influence distant glaciers, illustrating the interconnectedness of Earth's climate. Rainforests are among Earth's greatest climate stabilizers.
They regulate heat, moisture, atmospheric chemistry, and wind patterns. Their vast carbon stores, evaporative cooling, and cloud-forming processes maintain global balance. Cutting them weakens the planet's ability to stabilize itself. Preserving these forests strengthens natural resilience, guiding rainfall to parched regions, moderating storms, and buffering extreme shifts. Standing in a rainforest is standing within a vast engine of balance, a reminder that stability arises from cooperation among living systems. Tree roots anchor entire landscapes against erosion. They weave through soil like living ropes, binding particles, stabilizing slopes, and protecting riverbanks. Roots direct water slowly through the ground, reducing flooding and maintaining groundwater. When forests disappear, this network collapses, causing landslides and habitat degradation. Roots create spaces for insects, fungi, and small mammals, releasing nutrients slowly to feed future plants. The forest structure remains resilient because its roots form a living foundation. Indigenous knowledge includes remedies modern science cannot yet explain. Rainforest healers develop medicines through generations of observation, listening to forest rhythms, and watching animal-plant interactions. Treatments combine leaves, roots, fruits, and bark, often prepared during precise lunar cycles or seasons. Methods include collecting sap at dawn, exposing it to filtered sunlight, and observing strict silence or soft humming during preparation. These practices are as much spiritual expressions as physical remedies. Entire tribes live undetected in remote rainforests. Familiar with the land, they move silently through trees and rivers, blending homes into the landscape. Hunting, fishing, and cultivating small gardens, they thrive in harmony with the environment. Their knowledge spans fruiting cycles, animal movements, and rainfall patterns. These communities remind us that vast regions remain untouched and entire cultures continue living shaped entirely by the forest. Some rainforest trails are older than European cities. Long before stone streets, inhabitants created pathways through dense vegetation, following animal movements, rivers, and fruiting cycles. Over centuries, these trails became established routes for trade, migration, and spiritual journeys. Paths were reinforced by generations of footsteps, often following ridges and sacred sites. In many areas, forests have grown over them, yet the trails remain intact. Walking these paths is like stepping into a timeline older than written records. Certain trees are sacred and untouched. Communities regard them as housing protective spirits or ancestral guardians. They grow taller and older than surrounding trees, their roots spreading wide and deep. People approach them with reverence, leaving prayers or offerings. Birds nest in their branches, epiphytes flourish, and animals rest in their shade. Branches that fall are left undisturbed. These trees stand as living monuments, symbolizing a partnership between humans and nature. Rainforest peoples use plants that mimic animal calls to hunt. Some leaves or stems produce sounds resembling birds, frogs, or small mammals. Hunters imitate these calls to attract or calm animals, requiring knowledge of rhythm, pitch, and target species behavior. Some mimic alarm calls, others companionship notes. This practice reflects a deep understanding of forest acoustics, where every creature communicates through subtle sounds. Some rainforest languages contain words for birds unknown to science. Remote communities often name species long before researchers discover them. Terms describe behavior, habitat, song, and seasonal presence. Linguists sometimes find references to birds never photographed or studied, showing relationships built over generations of observation. Languages become living maps of biodiversity, preserving knowledge of rare or elusive species. Forest dwellers can identify hundreds of plants by scent alone. Insects, frogs, or caterpillars produce toxins transformed into vibrant pigments for rituals, body art, and sacred objects. Gatherers go the safest timing and methods to produce colors while neutralizing danger. The dyes express cultural identity, spiritual protection, and connection to forest beings.
Some traditional medicines rely on sunlight, sap, and silence. Remedies are collected at dawn, exposed to filtered sunlight, and prepared with strict observance of quiet or humming. Chemical reactions occur naturally, yet practices remain rooted in intention and timing. The medicines are spiritual expressions as much as physical treatments. Generations have mapped rainforests through memory and song. Stories passed down describe mountains, rivers, bird calls, and sacred groves. Children learn the landscape through rhythm, melody, and repetition, creating mental maps woven with sound. Paths are remembered through verses about fruit tastes or water sounds, preserving navigation and ecological knowledge across generations. Even subtle variations in wind, soil, or sunlight are encoded in the songs of rainforest communities. Travelers rely on these musical maps to traverse vast distances, carrying knowledge that evolves with each generation as the forest shifts and grows. These songs reveal a profound intimacy between people and place, showing that geography can be preserved not through ink on paper, but through memory shaped by voice, breath, and rhythm. Within the rainforest canopy, insects play a surprising role in shaping weather. As they feed, move, and release natural chemicals, they emit microscopic particles that act as condensation nuclei around which moisture gathers. These aerosols drift upward on warm air currents created by the forest itself. When they reach cooler layers of the atmosphere, water vapor condenses on them, forming clouds that may eventually release rain back onto the forest. Even the smallest creatures influence hydrological cycles, blending their contributions with those of plants, fungi, and soil microbes. Insects, in effect, shape the very conditions on which their survival depends, demonstrating that weather is not only the product of wind and sun, but of countless living beings acting together. Beneath the forest floor lies a vast web of roots, fungi, and moisture that allows trees to communicate chemically across great distances. When a tree is stressed by pests, drought, or injury, it releases signals through this network. Neighboring trees detect these messages and respond, producing protective compounds, adjusting water use, or altering leaf structure to reduce vulnerability. This underground conversation links entire sections of the forest, silently coordinating survival strategies. Trees behave not as isolated individuals, but as members of a cooperative community, revealing a sophisticated awareness of danger and an ability to act in concert. Some trees hum in ultrasonic frequencies to signal stress. Within their trunks, vessels transport water from roots to leaves. When a tree is injured or dehydrated, the tension in these vessels changes, creating vibrations too high for human ears to detect. Sensitive animals, insects, or other trees may perceive these hums, responding by approaching or avoiding the stressed individual. The forest becomes a subtle orchestra of signals, invisible to us but essential to life within the canopy. Climbing plants such as lianas sense these vibrations and grow toward them. As animals move through branches or wind sways the canopy, subtle patterns of vibration travel through the air and wood. Lianas bend gradually toward these signals, finding sturdy supports for climbing. This slow, responsive movement demonstrates that rainforest plants interact with their environment through more than light and chemical cues, revealing a hidden sensory world. The vine's pursuit of vibration transforms the canopy into a living web of interwoven life. Rainforests broadcast scents that travel across oceans. Leaves, flowers, and fruits emit natural compounds that rise into the air, combining into unique chemical signatures for each region. Carried by atmospheric currents, these molecules drift across islands, coastlines, and oceans, sometimes influencing cloud formation or rainfall in distant lands. Other molecules break down during transit, while some endure, allowing the forest's presence to reach unseen regions. These airborne chemicals form a planetary scent cycle, demonstrating that forests communicate far beyond their physical boundaries. Some plants respond to danger by turning leaves away from predators. When insects gather or neighboring plants release stress signals, certain leaves rotate or fold, reducing herbivory and conserving water.
Specialized cells act like tiny hinges, allowing rapid changes invisible from afar. These movements demonstrate the rainforest's remarkable capacity for self-protection, with each leaf contributing to a quiet, ongoing defense system. Other plants orient themselves using Earth's magnetic field. Within their cells, structures detect magnetic forces, guiding roots into soil and stems towards stable light. Magnetic sensitivity helps maintain orientation in dense forests where sunlight is fragmented. Plants with this capacity optimize stability and growth efficiency, an adaptation essential in environments where other cues are unreliable. The rainforest is full of such subtle, complex behaviors, many hidden within ordinary-looking vegetation. Light filters through mist in unique patterns, painting the forest with ever-changing rays. Sunlight scattering through suspended moisture creates beams that drift across leaves, vines, and branches. Patterns shift with wind, canopy density, temperature, and altitude. Birds forage as rays brighten their perches, insects rise into warming beams. The forest becomes a cathedral of moving light, a dynamic interplay shaped by conditions unique to each location. Some organisms have never been photographed alive. Rare, elusive, or remote species are known only through traces, molted skin, footprints, or fleeting glimpses. Others exist solely in local stories or old museum specimens. They dwell in canopy zones or labyrinthine routes where human presence is scarce. Researchers employ sound recorders, scent traps, and infrared cameras in hopes of glimpsing these hidden inhabitants. The rainforest still harbors mysteries, species yet unseen, awaiting discovery. Its microhabitats, layers of soil, foliage, water, and air, conceal countless lineages from science. Canopy zones rarely reached, deep soil structures, or decaying logs may shelter organisms with unknown life cycles. Every expedition uncovers fungi, insects, or tiny vertebrates that challenge current understanding of biodiversity. For each documented species, many more remain unseen. The rainforest is not a completed catalog, but a living, unfolding realm of possibilities. As night falls and distant birds' echoes fade, the forest settles into its gentle rhythm. Let your thoughts follow, drifting through a world shaped by mist, roots, and hidden life. Imagine creatures both seen and unseen, stories written in leaves and flowing water. Let this sense of wonder remain as you rest, a reminder that mystery still breathes across our planet. Slow your breathing, let your body grow heavy, and allow the rainforest's quiet rhythm to carry you into sleep.